This is ancient Rome, the heartbeat of an empire, birthplace of one of the greatest civilizations on Earth. Written in stone, its ruins tell a remarkable story. It's the world's first metropolis, erected of concrete and marble, built on a swamp with extraordinary engineering. Buried beneath modern streets are the pillars of Rome's power, inspired by ambition and driven by innovation. Today, archaeologists are piecing together newly found fragments of a city and of a people who profoundly influenced the world. It's the first civilization to conquer the Western world, and at its peak, it is the greatest empire on Earth. Spanning 3 continents and 2 million square miles, it rules 60 million people. But Rome's greatest feat is that its endurance and its supremacy lasts for centuries.
When we think of Rome, of the Roman emperors, the Romans themselves viewed their city already as ancient. Over 500 years of construction, destruction, and reconstruction had shaped the city.
Rome's long history is sacred, and Romans worship the goddess Roma, who personifies the city. But to fully understand the extraordinary accomplishments of Rome, we must examine how it all began.
Tradition has it that Rome was founded here, on the Palatine Hill, one of Rome's oldest hills. And it's right here that we have the remains of a hut that dates back to the 8th century BC.
There is a widely held belief that the city's founding fathers are Romulus and Remus, the semi-divine sons of the god Mars. To early Romans, this myth explains plenty. Like the engineering work that seems superhuman in its scale. Without it, Rome does not exist.
This is the Roman Forum. It's the commercial center of Rome. It's the political center. It's the religious center. It is the heart of the empire that spans the Mediterranean. Originally, it didn't look like this, though. Originally, it's wet, uninhabitable.
The tribal land of the Romans is a swamp, a breeding ground for diseases like malaria. No settlement can thrive here unless a large area is drained.
Rome didn't grow into an imperial world city because of its natural advantages. It was the Romans that made Rome, and not the location.
Major construction begins around 600 BC. An army of laborers cut channels. At first, they're just open drains, collecting water as it runs off the hills. Later, they are covered over and built on. These tunnels are so well made and robust that even today, some are still in use.
The way they go about making these kinds of drains is they start with the bedrock. So the lower courses, the lowermost courses, they're actually cutting right through the bedrock, the tuff of the hill of the Capitoline. Then on top of that, they take other blocks and they stack them up to make these walls.
Only recently have these drains been properly explored. Archaeologist Cristiano Ranieri is mapping all of the tunnels in the system. In every corner, in every crack, he finds something new.
Cristiano is examining this material, amphorae, ceramics, bones, and it just accumulates over time as people continue to dump the debris into the channels. This material documents the life of ancient Rome.
The last person to see these fragments is probably the Roman who discards them 2,000 years ago. But the most remarkable find is still the network itself, its sheer size, purpose. Ranieri reveals more than 15 miles of tunnels. The construction rivals any of the buildings above and marks a key moment. The beginning of Rome's march from tribal settlement to imperial city.
Without structures like this, we wouldn't have the Forum becoming the grand space it was for commercial activities, for socializing. We wouldn't have Rome.
In the 2,500 years since the people of Rome claimed this land, their city has never stopped evolving. Today, civil engineers are cutting their own tunnels to build a new subway line. Their work often turns up pieces of the past.
The amazing thing about being in the city of Rome is that there's always something new to discover. You can dig anywhere in this city, and you just don't know what you're going to find.
These ruins are found on the planned site of a subway exit. In its time, this is an imperial building with a public role in shaping the city. This piece of stone hung on its exterior.
The name is Fabius, Felix, Passifilus, Paulinus, vir clarissimus et illustris, prefectus urbis studis suis. This discovery is very important, maybe to understand the function of the imperial building.
It's a public building dedicated by the Prefectus Urbis, the closest thing Rome has to a mayor. The office supervises the import of grain. It controls the police force and maintains the roads, the drains, and the water supply. But its main duty is to oversee planning and building. It dates back to the early days of the Roman Republic. And from the beginning, its holders have tried to forge order from chaos, to manage and map a city that changes with every passing year.
Sometimes we tend to compress it and imagine the Colosseum was always there, and these, grand imperial Rome was always there. Ancient Rome was not one place. Ancient Rome lasted a long, long time.
Construction is a political tool, fueled by the spoils of war, and used to display power and generosity.
One of the fundamental spurs to building is personal glory. The way that you are remembered is through your name remaining on people's lips and your monuments being permanent.
Rome's skyline becomes crowded with temples and monuments. The Theater of Pompey, the Forum of Caesar. But in 27 BC, the ever-evolving city faces a revolution, and Rome's first emperor is crowned. His name is Augustus, the adopted son of Julius Caesar. For nearly 20 years, he's fought for control. He eliminates all his rivals, and now from his base on the Palatine Hill, he seizes power for himself.
This is the house of Augustus. And it was here, within these walls, more than 2,000 years ago, that Augustus redesigned Rome and made this a command center for his empire.
He now has the vast resources of the empire at his disposal. The control of the most advanced civilization on Earth is now in the hands of one man. This is the golden age of Rome, the result of the most extraordinary feats of construction that the world has ever seen.